How's it going? We're back again with another tutorial. This time Native Instruments Massive. I'm going to show you how I made this bass sequence patch. It uses the performer to modulate both cut-offs of filter 1 and filter 2. Okay, so I'll show you the sound on its own and then we'll get down to how I made it. As you can see, it's quite a bass heavy patch again. You can hear the performer really working, modulating the cut off up and down to these patterns that you choose. Okay, so we'll get started. New sound. Oscillator 1 is a guitar pulse. Pitch this down 1 octave to -12. Offset it just slightly to about 0.88. Set the wave table position to about 12 o'clock. The intensity to about 1/4. Leave the amp where it is for the minute. We're going to use an envelope to modulate this in a while, but just leave it where it is for the minute. Second oscillator, we're going to use scrapyard. Pull this wave table position down to about 8 o'clock. The intensity to about 1 o'clock. Leave the amp where it is for now. Same thing, we're going to modulate it with envelope 1 in a while. We need to change the guitar pulse to a formant and scrapyard to a bend negative and positive. Pitch your scrapyard down 2 octaves. Just push this one up ever so slightly, 0.6. Just detunes them. Okay, I'll show you this now just with the 2 oscillators and nothing else. Okay, very static at the minute as you can hear, but we'll get down to the modulation in a bit. Modulation oscillator, turn that on. I'll pitch this down 1 octave as well. Same thing, just pushed it up a little, so it was about 0.94. And I'll use this to do a phase of oscillator 2. Pull it all the way down just so it's barely audible. And also we used it to filter FM 1. So turn that on, keep it on. No noise on this, no feedback. So let's get down to the filters then. Filter 1 was a low pass 2. Turn the serial and parallel up to about there. Keep both oscillators routed to filter 1 and filter 2. Resonance all the way down to the bottom. We're going to modulate this with an envelope later on. Turn filter 2 on. Set this to a high pass 2. Set the cut off dead center. Resonance to about 1/4. Turn the volume all the way up. Keep the mix of the 2 filters just above half, leading towards filter 1 side. Okay, I'll show you it with the 2 filters on and the modulation oscillator. Okay, right. I'll put the effects on and then we'll do all the modulations at the end. So, insert 1 was a sine shaper. I pretty much use this on all my patches. Just gives everything a little bit of grit, makes it a bit more warmer. Pull dry wet down to about 1/4. Push the drive up to about 1 o'clock. Insert 2 is a parabolic shaper. This just gives everything a bit more width. Dry wet to about 1 o'clock. Drive to about 1/4. Okay, FX1 was a telly tube. Pull dry wet all the way down for the minute. Just pull the drive back a tad. FX2 is a dimension expander. Pull the dry wet back to about 1/4 and the size down to about 10 o'clock. EQ as well while we're here. Pull the high shelf all the way down to about 1/4. Frequency about 10 o'clock again. Just boost the lows a little, about 1 o'clock. Okay, right, I'll let you hear it with the effects before we start modulating them. Right, first we are going to use envelope 1. This is going to control the amp of the amp of both the oscillators. So assign it to oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. Pull them all the way back and push the envelope amount to full on both. So with this, we want to push the attack up to about 1/4. Keep the level where it is. Push the decay out to about 1/4 past. The level about 5 past. Right, we're going to select this to loop once, and the morph, leave the top one at 1, the bottom one, choose the 4th one. Push the level all the way up to the top, and the morph all the way around, pretty much all the way, just back it off slightly, and the sloop to about 1/4 past. Release, push it up just ever so slightly, just give it a little bit of release. Okay, that's the amp envelope done. The other envelope we use is envelope 3. This one we use to modulate a lot, wavetable positions and most of the effects. So push the attack right out on this one. This means when we use it to modulate stuff, it's going to gradually turn the dial in effect over time. So it increases all the effects and things as the key's held down. Push the decay right out as well, pretty much all the way, just back it off slightly. The level about 5 past. We're going to loop this again, set this one to loop 8. Keep the top one at 1 and choose 8. I think it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the one. Push the level all the way around to about 20 past. Same again, morph all the way around and just back it off slightly. Slope all the way around. Push the release to about 5 past. Okay, we're going to use this to modulate wavetable position on oscillator 1. Pull it back to about 1/4. Also going to use this for wavetable position on oscillator 2. Push it around to about 1 o'clock. I'm going to use it for the intensity. Pull it back slightly to about 12 o'clock. We are going to use it for filter FM. Filter FM of oscillator 1. Pull that down to nothing and push it back up to about 10.2. And also for the phase, just ever so slightly, just that tiny little bit amount makes a lot of difference with the phase. What else do I use it for? Use it for the resonance filter 2. Push it up slightly. The same for filter 1. Push it up to about 1/4. Okay, right, I'll let you hear it just with that envelope on. Okay, right, now we'll set the performer up now. This is the main tool for sculpting this sound. Select 7 LFO, I did. Change it to a performer. click it for mono. Right, we use this on the cutoff for filter 1, cutoff for filter 2. On filter 2 we pull it negative to about 1/4 to, and on filter 1 push it positive to about 10 past. Okay, right, so let's set this performer up. Load the curve. You're just going to have to copy the curves that I do on this. Bear with me while I build it to how I add it. As I say, you'll just have to copy this. I've set up both sides as well. Use this double time one on the first 4 at the bottom. Downwards triangle. Blank. Downwards triangle. Blank. And the quadruple time one. Not quite to the top. Square. This ramp. Triangle. And that one. Double time one. Small ramp. And a big one at the end. Okay, that's it. Curves done. Crossfade sequence. We're going to set a macro to this later on, but we'll leave it where it is for the minute. We'll sync the rate to 1/8 to get us started. Positive sync, restart, everything as it is. Okay, right, I'll show you just with this performer on the sound now. Okay, right, we use 2 more LFOs to get this sound going. We can swap between the 2 LFOs later on again with these macros. So LFO 6 is what we used. Set that, leave that as not mono on this one. We sync it, set it to 1/4. Change the start position of the sine wave to about there. Crossfade all the way to the top. Back decay off to halfway. Okay, we set this to the cut off of both again. This one goes positive, just slightly less than we did the performer. This one goes positive on this one, about 1/4 past on filter 2. Sounds a bit messy at the minute, but we're going to set some macros up so you can choose between the straightforward LFO or the performer. One more LFO we use as well, LFO 5. We'll set this to the tube, dry wet, and drive. Push that up to there, that one to about 1 o'clock. And on the dimension expander drive, push it up slightly. We also use this LFO 5 on the serial and parallel. Put it there, pull it down, just before halfway. Right, we'll go to the voicing section because I think we use one of these LFOs in there as well. Yeah, voicing section, unison, push that up to 4. Pitch cut off on, turn this up to 2. Set LFO 5 to that, push it up just a tad. Wavetable position, turn it on. LFO 5 on that as well. Pull that one back to there. Turn pan position on. Set that to dead center. Monophonic. Trigger always. Okay, that's it for the voicing. I'll play it you again now. No, I won't. I'll set the macros up, then it's all done. Right, macro 1. We set this to the amp of the performer 7, so you can ineffectively turn the performer on and off. Turn the amp all the way down, push that all the way up. Second macro. This one we use to choose between the 2 sequences. So click it on this little box here. In effect, it's the crossfader, so you can choose between the top sequence and then the lower sequence. Pull it down, push it all the way to the top. Third macro is the amp for the LFO 6. Push that to about 3/4. I'll just go to the attributes page and name these so we know what we're doing. So this one was sequence select. First one was performer amp. And the third one was LFO amp. Okay, so you can use these macros as and when you want. The best thing to do is either have the performer amp up or the LFO on its own amp up. I'll show you that later on. So let's go back to the synth. I'll turn the LFO amp down for now. Go back to the synth, I'll play it, and then I'll move the macros so you can see it changing between the sequences. Turn the performer right down as well with the performer amp outro we made, so it's just this bass without any performer at all. And then you can turn the LFO amp, which is just a basic LFO, which, to wobble it without any performer. Okay, that's pretty much it with the sound. I'll show you it with a little sequence that I made in a remix that I'm doing at the minute. It starts off with one performance and then I've modulated it, sequence select, performer amp and sequence select. It changes to, I've modulated the LFO rate halfway through this sequence and double times it, but it changes sequence on the way as well, but you hear it. So I'll play it for you. Okay, that's it. That's the patch done. Just check for everything. I think we've covered everything. Yeah, that's it. I say any problems, just give me a call. Sorry again if I was a bit quick. You'll have to just pause it and slow it down. So any requests or any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Okay, cheers. Thanks a lot.